I'm being joined right now by Kaude, who brings us some of the things you've been talking about on X.
Jeffrey, we're starting off with the big ones, minimum wage. And you've been talking about it, so let's see some of the things you are talking about. The trade union, Labour generally, has condemned federal government's proposal of 48,000 naira. So Labour proposed 615. That was like the asking price.
Yeah,
when you haggle in the market. So it says 615 for this, and then the federal government played a Nigerian mother thing on us. How about 48,000 naira?
It's very funny.
Absolutely.
It's like Labour went to federal government was saying it like, why did it go so high? And then in reply they say, I'll go so annoyingly low for you.
Right?
Like it looked like that. It looks like that.
And Labour was miffed. So let's see what you're saying about this. We'll begin from Kabir Mukhtar 91. That's the first user that has a comment on the show this morning. It says, we will not recognize and condemn the said proposed 48,000 naira as new minimum wage. It goes on to say, looking at the current economic situation, subsidy removal, hike in electricity tariff, it is unfair for federal government to present 48,000 naira as minimum wage. So I'm quite curious, why do you say we will not recognize and condemn? But the point I think you made in the second part, you're trying to say that, you know what, you will not recognize this proposed 48,000 naira, Jeffrey.
Perhaps he's saying there's room for more negotiation.
Yeah.
Chigozie Madam says, the federal government representatives should be honest with reality. They should consider house rent, transportation to the place of work, feeding, other basic utility bills and savings. For the 8K or for the 8,000 as we call it, can't get half bag of rice, beans, gari, etc. How do they want people to survive? All right.
Well, Meslak02 has the next one saying, and this is a target, but I mean, what this person believes should be the minimum ground. Anything less than 100,000 naira, new minimum wage, should not be entertained. And that's just the crux of this particular one. So 100,000 naira should be the least for this user.
All right, this is Berlin Syndrome says, wow, that's a wonderful name, Berlin Syndrome. I don't know what that means. Says, what's 48K? I hope this is a joke, Sha. When inflation is at an all-time high, people don't even have the money to purchase basic things again.
And just this one now breaks it down to the state level. Adlov Global says, I think each state, I think that's what the user was trying to say, each state should pay according to their state's income. And that is what I think is also missing in this whole dialogue. So when you reach out, some of the representatives, they tell you, negotiation is ongoing, we cannot say anything, but it's important for you to show your workings.
Yeah.
Labour has shown their workings.
Yes.
They told us why they came
broke
to that
it
figure.
down.
So tell us what you're able to pay and why you are offering that amount. I think it's as simple as that.
All right, Igono Matthias says, after earning less than 50K monthly, then after retirement, your pension funds have been used up for the wrong purpose. Is there any advantage of being a Nigerian? Okay, I think the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy has provided clarification as to the issue of the pensions and what happened. It actually sat down and did more like a clarification video to that effect.
Absolutely. There are laws guiding that. So it's important for us to get acquainted with those laws and be sure that we follow up so that the law is not being broken. But let's move on to yet another thing that concerns you. You know, when you get your salary, well, they say a chunk of it goes to feeding, but another chunk goes to what? Rent. And we understand that the House of Reps is seeking what it called house rent regulation to regulate outrageous rents in Nigeria. I hear a lot of tenants saying, yes, finally, but it's still in the works. But take a look at this first one. It's from Oladapo Mickey One. Says they should start in Lagos first. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against it.
Maybe this is a good time to invite Bakari back to come and talk about this.
Right?
Yes.
And this user breaks it down. Agent fee, agreement fee, caution fee, toilet fee, Egbon Adugbo fee. All should be removed with immediate effect.
What does that even mean? What does Egbon Adugbo mean? I don't know.
It will take like an hour to break down what Egbon Adugbo means, but it just means the tip you give some people in the area.
Oh, boy.
Those people who sort of tax you from time to time.
All right, let's go to the next person. This is Lumen 5. Is it 5,000 or 500,000?
5,000.
5,000. The government should build government affordable houses for citizens, reduce the cost of building materials. With this, all this will fall in the right places. Landlords and are victims too. The cost of building houses is too high. Nigeria is one of the cheapest in house rent all over the world. You know, I just squirm whenever I see this. Nigeria is the cheapest. I don't personally. I don't get comfortable with that statement. I always say, if Providence has provided that we get some things cheaper than the rest of the world, why should we plan against ourselves? There are things in our country that are more expensive in this country than some part of the world. So let's not always run there, all right?
Yeah, and it's just to be clear on that one. You see figures and data that actually point to real estate being expensive in Nigeria. So it's quite curious seeing this one. But the next one, which you saw earlier, Joe Razor says real estate might move across the southern border. If this scales through, maybe it might drop. North is up, south is low, and you saw that earlier on, and that essentially is the thinking from this, and it believes that people might now be able to afford more things. But yeah, that's
all right. So let's go. Nigeria Urban Farmer says the government isn't a stakeholder in the housing sector as such. They cannot decide on the cost of rent without addressing the outrageous prices of building materials as well as cost of land. To make it better, government should build mass housing for rent and then regulate the prices. Decrease in demand will lead to decrease in price. Our gap is quite wide when it comes to the housing. I think it's over 10 million.
Deficit, right?
Yes, that gap, that deficit is too wide. Okay,
there you go.
This is okay. This is
ladies first.
Not at all. All right, this is people reacting to Senator Ndume. It was on our show, the Politics Today, and he did talk about, the death penalty for drug traffickers. He says beyond that, he would support, death penalty for corrupt officials, but he gave the criteria, not 1 million being punished the same way a 1 trillion person is being punished. So he says, this is your reaction. Sakiru Oyegunle says, why being selective? Corruption is corruption. Even if it is 5K, so far it is government money diverted for personal gains. There should be severe consequences in order to deter people generally from such practice.
There you go. And this next user says, and that's Inoazi, says Senator Ndume should not take the threshold of corruption to 1 trillion. Says even 500,000 naira is high enough, except his goal is to still encourage corruption if it is at low levels.
Okay. All right, Kemen Adamu says death penalty for corruption is death penalty for corruption. You cannot say or imply that people are permitted to embezzle as long as it is not more than, is it 1 million you said here? But I think it was saying 1 trillion. Why would somebody even dare?
Thank you very much.
1 trillion. Do you know what 1 trillion is?
Of our nation is literally.
That's a good percentage of our national budget for. Man, this is reckless.
I know that
reckless stealing.
Yeah, this might never happen, at least in the context we're in, to see death penalty being prescribed as punishment for corruption or grand corruption, as the case may be. I think the point here is it should be stricter, and the cleaning should begin in-house.
Yes,
that's essentially the point of this. There's a lot more on this particular trend, but that's where we'll have to anchor so we can take in more conversations.
Exactly. So absolutely, if we want to do the right thing, let's do the right thing. So people that are stealing money, stop stealing government money. I think the ICPC has a job here at the EFCC to tell us how much has been stolen since 1999 till date. At least Nati does a good job with how much crude oil has been stolen. The water bill. 1999. Can we get a record? ICPC, we're asking you. ICPC specifically, and EFCC in specific as well. Give us how much politicians are stolen from our country between 1999 to date. Maybe we'll like that number. But we'll take this quick break. We'll come back to our very first conversation. Join us again. My mouth is dry.
Someone just came for me. I'm defining a boy and go.
I don't.
you.